What is up, guys? Thursday. That means it is another episode of Modern Meta Breakdown. And you might have looked at the title, seen the video on YouTube or on Reddit or wherever you saw it and go, wait a minute. Death Shadow? Hasn't Nan already done? Didn't he do? Wasn't that like his first video of this? No? It was. But it was a Jund, Abzan, Death Shadow, like 3-part video kind of thing, talking about, because that was right around the time when Death Shadow was popping up as a Jund Abzan list. And so I figured, you know what? The meta shifted. The deck has shifted. It's gotten even better than it was, which is crazy to think about when you're like, wow, Death Shadow was a powerful deck then. How could it have gotten better? Well, we're going to talk about the big push to make this deck the 3 colors that it is now. So that'll be what today's video. I've got 3 decks to showcase to you guys. You'll notice that pretty much across the board they're going to be very similar with just very slight changes. There's not that many flex spots available. Maybe about 3 flex spots available amongst the spells, if you will. Creature base is going to be pretty much consistent. Sideboard, of course, does change varying on what's going on. So let's talk about some lists. Let's talk about the cards. So as you might remember, this one, there we go. Death Shadow costs 1 black, and he gets minus X, where X is your life total. So 13/13 starts out with, as you might think, as you lose life, he gets stronger. So powerful card. Why have we pulled away from green? What has happened? Why are we back into Grixis? Well, there's a really powerful counterspell out there for one of the reasons. Stubborn Denial. Spoilers, you guys got to see it because I misclicked. Stubborn Denial costs 1 blue. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. But if you control a creature with a power of 4 or greater, hello, Death Shadow, easy to get him above a 4/4. You just get to counter that spell instead. So 1 blue to counter a non-creature spell seems great. That removal spell, that damage dealing spell at face, any of those, yeah, I'm not worried about it. Oh, those planeswalkers that you want to try to play, no, not going to happen. So great little protection spell available because, you know, you get to make your creature a 4/4 or bigger than a 4/4. So that's the big draw into playing blue, right? This counter spell is sweet. You also get access to Snapcaster Mage, which is, you know, awesome to have as a creature amongst our few that we get to start running. You know, flashback, get some of our spells back. Awesome, big fan. We'll talk more about the spell side of things soon. But you can run a full playset of Snapcasters. Great creature to have. Gurmag Angler is in here because, hey, you're filling up your graveyard, you're casting your Thought Seizes, you're fetching, you're shocking, you're doing all this stuff to lose life, your graveyard's full of stuff. Well, I'm going to get rid of those. Now I have a 5/5. And guess what? Gurmag Angler also turns on Stubborn Denial. Extra bonus there. So it makes sense. 2 of those are in here. Also, it's got 2 more of our other Delve creature, Tasker the Golden Fang. But because we are on Grixis, we can activate Tasker's ability because, of course, we've got access to that blue mana. So that is a nice addition to Delve 5 away. Now you got a 4/5. Guess what? Stubborn Denial's turned on by Tasker. So there's that nice little aspect to it. Street Wraith is in here. Hey, gain life, card advantage, draw cards, sweet. That's what we want to be doing. Very rare that you'll see it hard cast, but it does happen from time to time. Swamp Walk can be relevant from time to time, but do keep that in mind going forward. That is basically pay 2 life, draw 1 card. That's all that really reads. So that's our creature list. Across the board, 4 Death Shadow, 4 Snapcaster, 4 Street Wraith are going to be consistent. Might have some variance on the number of Tasker and number of Gurmag Angler, but creature-wise, it's going to be around 16. Land base, always going to be around that 19 mark. That's what you want to see. And you'll see a lot of fetches and shocks in the sideboard here, or sorry, in the main board for it, the main deck. 1 island, 1 swamp, only basics we need. Don't really care about mountains. Cool. not as many red spells that we're casting. You can see a lot of them are going to be around that blue or black that we'll need. But does run 2 Blood Crypt, does run a Steam Vent in there, and 2 Watery Grave. Cool. The rest, as you might imagine, are our fetch lands. Scalding Torrens, playset. Polluted Delta, playset. Bloodstained Mire, playset. So, hey, lose a life off it, no big deal. Maybe lose 3 life, works out great. Gonna increase my Death Shadow's power and toughness. So, big reason to be running those. So let's talk about our spells. Got full package of the Fatal Push removal spell. Destroy target creature, convert mana cost 2 or less. Or, hey, I fetched, now I can kill something that is 4 or less. Pretty powerful. You'll see that consistently across the board in Death Shadow list, a playset. Stubborn Denial, here's one of our flex spots available of how many you want to run. 2 is a great one to have. You need that kind of balance of disruption, removal, counter magic kind of thing amongst your spells here. So let's talk about additional removal spell besides Fatal Push. We've also got Terminate, adding into that Grixis color, red-black. Destroy target creature, can't be regenerated. Sweet, you see 2. Again, that can be one of our number flexibilities. Sometimes you might see people run like a Dismember or something like that in there, but it seems pretty solid. Now, Disruption. We've got our Inquisition of Kozilek, 3 of them. Solid. Don't need as much as the Thoughtseize because we care more about the life. But it's nice to have the extra removal package. You can open it up with the Inquisition, follow it up with the Thoughtseize, or vice versa. However you want to do it. So 3 in there is nice. 4 Thoughtseize, like we were talking about. Look at somebody's hand, steal a card from it, as long as it's not a land. Sweet. And you lose 2 life. Works out great because I want to make my Death Shadow bigger. What about our draw spells? So we essentially have 7 spells that help us draw a card if we don't include Street Wraith in here. Serum Vision's one of it. We do get access to Serum Vision, which is always nice when we're playing blue. Draw a card, scry 2, set ourselves up nicely. Hey, do I want to keep those cards on top? Yes, cool. Do I need to fetch something away if these cards aren't worth it? Cool. Thought Scour is also nice. You can set up stuff that you want to put in your graveyard, maybe for some extra shenanigans with Tasigur, some Snapcaster shenanigans, or you're going, well, there's 2 lands, I don't need these 2 lands, so I'll make sure they stay on top off the Serum Vision so I can Thought Scour them away. Thought Scour, target player puts top 2 cards of his or her library in his graveyard, draw a card. Also works out great because that delve mechanic. Hey, I want to throw extra cards in my graveyard, and Thought Scour essentially is putting 3 cards in there. 1 to cast it, right? There it goes in the graveyard. You're putting the top 2 into the graveyard, so there's half of a delve away for Gurmag for Tasigur. Works out nicely as a nice little draw spell. But I like this list a lot for the Rise Fall in here, which you might have to turn your head a little bit to read this, but I'll also read it out for you guys. I love this card in this deck. For a blue and a black, you can return a creature card from your graveyard and target creature on the battlefield to their owner's hand. So you can choose an opponent's creature to go to their hand, so now they don't have a blocker. You can choose to return your Snapcaster Mage to your hand, so you get to play him again. You can also be able to get one of your Death Shadow back from the graveyard to your hand, so you can play it again. And Fall is just another discard spell. Target player reveals 2 cards at random from his or her hand, and then discards each non-land card revealed this way. Just as an extra way to go about it. It does have that nice versatility. You see, it's just a singleton. That it's a really nice, like, oh, I was not prepared for that at all kind of thing. You bouncing my creature, I did not put you on that line of play. That was not something I had any read on. Or, oh, you just got back your Snapcaster to be able to play a removal spell from your graveyard again. Nope, didn't see that happening as well. Now, it is a sorcery speed, so you do have to be aware of that, but keep that in mind. The other nice thing about this is it runs Liliana the Veil. You will see some variants on which Liliana is run, but I'm a big fan of Liliana the Veil. She fits in nicely if you're kind of going for this more control-y route, which this list does seem to be going for. So it fits in nicely. Sideboard, again, you're going to tweak it how you want and what your meta is like. Is Static Caster is great. tokens, anything with 1 toughness out there. Maybe there's infect running around in your area, stuff like that. It's great, locks people out kind of thing. 3 Leyline of the Void. Hey, there's graveyard effects. Let's stop it. Dredge, things like that. We're going to put a stop to it. Well, what about those big, dumb dudes? Eldrazi. Artifacts. We can get rid of those too. Counter target colorless spell. More controls kind of set up in here. Disdainful Stroke, counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. Maybe some of those board wipe effects, things like that. We can say no to that. Again, hey, we're playing against Tron. They've cast a big dude. Nope, we're not going to let you do that. Kozilek's Return, maybe a little bit more removal we need. Guess what? Kozilek's Return's 2 damage. Not going to affect our Death Shadow usually. And even that 5 damage might not affect Death Shadow. So, again, 2 more Stubborn Denial set up in the board. So, very much control-y for the board style of things. 3rd Liliana, too, if need be. Need more discard, need more single target, sack a creature stuff. And then 2 Collective Brutality. I love this card. Great reason to be playing black and be running it. It's a very versatile spell. And strip away instant or sorcery. -2/-2 a creature. Gain 2 life. Opponent loses 2 life. Very nice card. So this list here set up kind of for a control Death Shadow list. And that is a big reason to want to play Death Shadow. I've got 2 more to show you guys real quick though. This one, no Planeswalkers run in this. You can see it is picking up 2 more spells because it is lacking in the Planeswalker department for here. Creature, guess what? 4 Death Shadow, 2 Gurmag, 4 Snap, 4 Street Wraith, 2 Tasker. Same across the board. How about our land base? Island, Swamp, only 1 Blood Crypt, adding in extra Watery Grave here, 1 Steam Vent, and then, guess what? Playset of Scalding, playset of Polluted, playset of Bloodstain. Same. So what are we adding in here? Another sweet removal spell, another sweet versatile card, Kolgun's Command. Love it. It's great. Again, like one of the best commands out there besides Cryptic Command and Modern. Those are like the 2 big ones that come to mind when you think about commands. Cost 3, you're going to choose to return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Hey, goes along with that kind of rise fall that we saw in the last list. But we also got to pick something else. So we can say, hey, I'm going to return my Death Shadow back. I'm going to return the Snapcaster back from my graveyard to my hand. I can make you discard a card. I can destroy an artifact. Or I can just deal 2 damage to you or one of your creatures. So very versatile spell. Again, maybe there's a lot of affinity running around, which we did get to see at the last GP. So having an extra removal spell saying, whoa, 2 damage to that, destroy that artifact, no problem. Also is able to run a Lightning Bolt in here. Just a nice little, alright, here's 3 more damage. I've done a lot of damage to you. Can I finish you off with just a bolt? Yep, cool. Oh, I also have a Snapcaster. So it's essentially like I'm running 2 bolts. So I like it. You have that flexibility since you're not running Planeswalkers. And then you do see that sort of extra addition in here. 2 Stubborn Denial, 2 Terminate. Again, back in the 4 Thought Scour. 2 Inquisition here, shaved down, not as a 3, because, you know, we had to adjust some of our numbers. 4 Serum, sweet. 4 Thoughtseize, makes a lot of sense. Cool. Going for that more removal-heavy side in this thing. Less control, more removal. Over on our sideboard, though, Nihil Spellbomb. This is our answer to graveyards, if you will. Instead of running Leyline, we're going to opt for this. Sack it. We can draw a card off it. Card advantage is nice. Hey, colorless spells suck. Let's counter them. Get them out of here. Kozilek's Return. We saw that in our previous list here. Board wipes. Again, removal's the name of the game for this particular list. We do have access to extra counter magic, because why would we not want to run more Stubborn Denial when we can counter all of your non-creature spells? Liliana Last Hope, the other Planeswalker that is often seen in these lists. She is amazing. Let's be honest. 3 mana Lilianas, best Lilianas. 3 mana Planeswalkers in general are just super powerful. So up to 1 target creature gets -2/-1 until your next turn. So hey, you're playing against Infect, they will never be able to play a creature again. Sorry. You can also, -2, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you can return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So just another recursion effect. Get back that Snapcaster, get back that Death Shadow, be ready to go. Collective Brutality, we talked about it. All the modes are great. We want all of those things. This is where I want to be, kind of thing. So this version of it is more damage, more removal side of things. And so now we've seen two different routes you can go for it. More control-y, more removal. And I want to show you one third one that is very similar. It's kind of like in between both of them, if you will. So let's take a look. 15 creatures. We shaved on one creature to add in a Planeswalker. We're also at 26 spells. Upped our spell count. Dropped a land. Very, very greedy play. We're playing it really tight on this one. Let me just, because there we go. We also have sideboard. So 4 Death Shadow, cool. 4 Snapcaster, yep. 2 Gurmag, 2 Tasker. Shaved on a Street Wraith. Interesting. Why did we get rid of one of our big damage dealers to ourselves and one of our card advantages? Well, we'll talk about it once we see the spells that have been added in. Liliana Last Hope's in here. Sweet, get creatures back, kill off creatures with it. Nice. We like that removal aspect of it. Land base, again, Island Swamp, double Blood Crypt, 1 Steam Vent, 2 Water Grave, 4 Bloodstain, 4 Polluted, and shave down on a Scalding Tarn. Cool. I'm not banging the table now. How about our removal package? What do we got here? Alright, 4 Fatal Push. Yep. Gotta have the Fatal Push. Cool. Terminates. Okay, got Terminates in there. Makes perfect sense. And, ooh, a single Dismember. I'm a fan. I like it. -5/-5 kills off most things. If you get really late into it, Death Shadow will be too big for it. But for the most part, Dismember is going to be doing some work. Also, single Kolaghan's Command, recursion, damage, removal. We got it. You know, disruption. We got it all. We've got it here with Kolaghan's Command. So I like having at least one in there. What other disruption do we got? 2 Kozilek's, cool. 4 Thoughtseize, sweet. Also deal some damage off it. That's what we want. I like it. How about card advantage? We shaved on a Street Wraith, so we had to pick up some more card advantage somewhere, right? Well, we got our playset of Thought Scour, cool. Playset of Serum Vision, yep, makes sense. And 2 Sleight of Hands. Interesting addition in here. Look at top 2, put one of them into your hand, the other goes in the bottom. So a nice little, oh, okay. Let's take a look. 2, cool, I want that creature, or I want that removal spell, put the other one on the bottom. You know, you really get to kind of set yourself up nicely. So opting for more staying power, don't have to go as burst and go, alright, Street Wraith, Thoughtseize, do all this stuff to myself, okay, get real low. Well, you know what? I can build up a little bit more. I can stay alive a little bit longer and really grind it out a little bit more. Strip away everything you've got in your hand, kill off everything that you're trying to play, and then, okay, now I can start doing a little bit more card advantage. Street Wraith, Inquisition, or Thought Scour, Serum, Sleight of Hands, get it all set up. Cool, now I'll kill you. So I like that kind of addition to it. Sideboard is kind of what you'd expect to see. We've got some Graveyard Hate, we've got some Counterspell, we got some Planeswalkers, both in the sideboard here. I love that. Great idea. Opting for the Anger of the Gods, Kozilek's Return, Anger of the Gods, pretty much the same. Does what you needed to do. 2 collected, cool. What's different? Well, Engineered Explosives, sweet. You are a 3-color list. You can kill pretty much anything 3 or less, no problem. And 2 Teamer Battle Rage. So this version here, especially with the sideboard, has set up where it can go control-y with the Planeswalkers, and we can grind it out a little bit more. I got the Sleight of Hands. We can do that grindy matchup, or I can go burst and we can race, and I can just blow you out with a Teamer Battle Rage. I don't have a problem with that. Double strike until the end of turn. Oh, and if he happens to have 4 or greater power, I also get trample. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. That sounds great. We're gonna set that up. So that's the big reasons to be playing the Grixis list. You have access to removal, disruption, and counter magic. It's like the perfect package of a deck that is designed to grind you out, and oh, I'm taking damage, and my guys are just getting bigger from it. It's just going to be a very, very difficult battle to face against them. And so you've got to think about, okay, how do I beat these decks? What do I need to do for it? Sometimes you just need to go wide, right? You see they have a lot of targeted removal. Dismember, Fatal Push, Cold Guns Command. Okay, they do really well about stripping away what you're trying to hold on to. So don't do that like, oh, I'm going to hold on to these things because I really need these later on. Well, they're not going to be there later on because they're going to strip them away with those Inquisitions, those Thought Seizes. They're just not going to be there. So what are you going to be able to do? Well, you know, play the stuff you can. Maybe be more creature-based effects. You can go for that race factor. Maybe you're going to say, hey, I'm going to play a really quick deck as well, and we're going to race. Maybe you'll say, you know what? I'm going to play burn. Have more burn spells available to me. You know, more helixes, more lightning bolts, whatever I need to do, and just go for your face because I know you're going to get real low. And I know you have no life gain in here, and you're living on a knife's edge. So those are some big ways to kind of go about it. The deck is all about the Pierce. I'm going to have one guy. It's my Death Shadow, maybe two. Death Shadow Gurmag Angler hanging out. Gurmag Tasker hanging out. Cool. Oh, maybe I'm beating you down with a Gurmag and a Snapcaster and holding on to my Death Shadow right now. It runs 15 creatures. So if you can be able to take out their creatures, sweet. But you have to be careful because once you run out of gas and have gotten rid of your removal spells and gotten rid of your way to deal with their creatures, that's when they're going to do something like, oh, here's Cold Guns, bring back my creature. Now I got another Death Shadow. Cool. Oh, you've gotten rid of all these guys? Well, I'm going to delve all this stuff in my graveyard. Now I've got a Gurmag. Now I have a Tassiger. Oh, here's Liliana out. Guess I'm going to -2 and get back one of my creatures. So it is very difficult to battle against the deck. And that is a big reason why we've been seeing it just taking over tournaments. Like top 16s, it's in there. Now, the last couple of big events, you've been noticing that it's not like all 8 of the decks in the top 8 are this. No, actually, we're seeing maybe 1 in the top 8. A lot of them are across the board in top 32, top 16. They're in there. There's a lot of them. It's a very powerful deck, but it's hard to play. It definitely rewards skilled players and playing smart. You know, there's going to be times where you get too greedy when you're learning how to play, and you fetch and you shock and you Thought Seize and you get yourself real low, and then they just do something and just get you. But once you learn the decks and you learn the lines of play, those times are going to become few and far between. So don't expect to do a lot of get-yous against this deck because it's got so much available to it with counter spells, with removal, with disruption. So it's here to stay. I don't think something needs to be banned. We're seeing people go different routes with it. Affinity is a great answer to this deck because it goes wide. It's very fast. It can race against it, and it's hard to deal with as a Grixis Death Shadow. Like, that's why you see it's got more counterspell in there, like Ceremonious Rejection, more removal, Anger of the Gods, things like that available to it to try to deal with how quick it can be. So I personally have enjoyed my matches where I'm playing Kiki Chord. I get out a lot of creatures. Mine are very good value-wise creature. Voice of Resurgence is sweet, stuff like that. So, you know, that sort of aspect can be a pretty good matchup. I'm not going to say I'm favored against Grixis Death Shadow by any means, because I don't think it's very difficult to be favored against Grixis Death Shadow. But it is something that you guys have to be aware of as a deck out there for Modern, because it's going to be here to stay until they decide to do something about it. I don't believe something needs to be done about it. I'm fine with how it is in the meta. It's very diverse as a format. We're seeing so many decks pop up in the top 8 and do well that keep Grixis Death Shadow around. It's a fun way to play for those that are liking to play it, and those that hate to lose to it are going to tweak their sideboard and tweak their decks to deal with that deck in particular. And that's easy enough to do. We've also been seeing like Death and Taxes lists do really well. That's another way to kind of stop this deck. Oh, you have to pay extra mana every time you want to fetch, and your 18 lands it's pretty much full of fetch lands, yeah, you're going to have a hard time. Sorry. So there's definitely ways that you can get around this and play and do what you can to kind of build around this list. But I wanted to take the time and talk about the Death Shadow stuff because, you know, we talked about it at the very beginning, but the meta has shifted. So this is the perfect time to talk about the Grixis version for all of you guys. Now this is the end of the video, so I wanted to take quick time to say thank you so much to everybody that has been tuning in and watching the Modern Meta Breakdown over the last couple of months. The feedback has been great. I'm glad newer players are finding the videos and able to pick decks based on the videos that they're going to start playing in Modern. That is awesome. I love seeing that. And so keep the comments coming. If there's discussions you want to have, I love that going on in the chat. Makes things worthwhile there. Been posting up additional videos for all of you guys wondering. Did a draft of the Vintage Cube that's up currently. We've got the draft portion. We've also got round 1 up. Round 2 will come up on Monday. And we're just going to keep doing more videos every Monday of additional stuff. Some of it is going to be Magic Online stuff. I'm going to start showing some Necromancer playthrough of Diablo 3. That's going to start coming up, the campaign aspect of it. So that is something I did previously where I've had the Warcraft 3 campaign, I've had the StarCraft campaign, and with StarCraft Remastered coming out, we're going to do more of the StarCraft campaign again, just going to showcase the remastered version. But that's going to do it for this video. Give some suggestions. Let me know what other decks you guys would like to see. I know we still have a lot to talk about. A lot of people are like, taking turns. Don't worry, it's coming, since that is popping up a little bit more. We haven't seen Grizzle Shoal yet. We haven't seen 8-Whack. So there's other ones that people have talked about. Don't worry, I'm not ignoring you. I hear you guys. They'll be coming up. But that's going to do it for this episode of Modern Meta Breakdown, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next game.